So welcome to my YouTube channel. That's what we call The Good Life. Today I'm going to be taking a little tour around my allotment just to show you how things are going. Now I've been away for a few weeks, so we've been busily weeding today, so I'm a little bit hot and bothered, but we'll take you for a tour around, and so don't be expecting too much. We've done a bit of weeding, but it's not perfect. So let's start off here. We've got the rhubarb. Now I've already had quite a bit of rhubarb. I've still got more I can take. I know there's some people say that you need to, I think, have an R in the month or something before you pick rhubarb, but if it looks okay, pick it. When you get towards the end of the year, about September, it will start to flop down and then you really can't start picking it, but it's still absolutely fine to be picking it at the moment. So we've got pears here. I've got absolutely loads of pears, so this is absolutely really promising. It's probably the most pears I've ever had on the tree, so hopefully I'll get some decent pears this year. And I've also got lots and lots of lovely Bramley apples. Now you can see some of them are a little bit small. I've had a bit of the June drop where the little ones drop off, but I might have to take a few more off, because although it looks really good to have lots and lots of apples on there, they won't all get really big, so I'll take some of the smaller ones off, or some of the damaged ones, so the others can fill out. But I've not got round to that yet, so that's a job for me to be doing this month. And I might do a similar thing with the pears as well. I'll have a little look around that at some point just to see how we're getting on. Now let's move down. Now unfortunately I think my raspberries are just a little bit too old, and it might just be because we've had lots and lots of dry weather, but they've just not filled out very well, unfortunately. So my crop of raspberries, I've got to say, have been really disappointing. I've got another apple tree there, which as you can see is completely laden, and that does definitely need to have some of the little apples taken out, but that's a job for another day. I've got some gooseberries in here which are netted from the birds, because the birds will have these quicker than I can blink. I do need to go in there and pick those off. I picked one lot of my gooseberries off, but you can leave some on to let them sweeten up a little bit, which is what I've done there. So I do need to try and get in there in the next month as well and try and get those off. So I've got some lovely climbing French beans here, which I've just started picking. So these are absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to take some of these home. So I've got some of these at home as well. I love, love, love having the purple ones. And then you can get different colours. I've had yellow ones. I've got some slightly speckled ones, which I think I've got one around here somewhere to show you. Yep, there we go. So I've got some slightly speckled ones there. There we go. That's one I've never grown before. Don't ask me what the variety is. It's the speckled variety. So these are doing quite well. So I haven't got a lot of leaf on them, but they seem to be producing a nice amount of things, which is absolutely excellent. I can have some of those with my tea this evening, which will be really, really lovely. I've got some lettuce here, I've got some parsley, I put some more radishes in, and I've also got some spring onions here, which are doing quite well. As you can see, the Hungarian hot wax chilies are doing really, really well here. So lots and lots of lovely chilies. So I'm going to have to start thinking of some things to do with that. I've got some aubergines there. I've not got any aubergines yet. The plants are looking really lovely and healthy. And I've also got some aroma peppers here as well, but not anything I can pick off yet. They're all still lots of buds on there, which looks really promising. My spring onions are looking absolutely fantastic. I can start pulling those if I want to, which is brilliant. Ironically, I think I put both of them in at the same time, the ones here and the ones over there, but for some reason these ones have grown just a little bit quicker, which, you know, it's just the way it goes sometimes. I've got some courgettes here, so I've got some courgettes at home and I've got some here, and these are doing really, really well. And these are the kind of things, you come up here one day and there's hardly anything there, and you come up another day and they're quite big. So I'm going to take that one and that one. Now the way you take them off, as you can see, is you just gently twist them off rather than just yank them off, otherwise you might damage the plant. That's my rhubarb that we only put in this year. Now I get a lot of people ask me, can I pull it in the first year? If it looks as good as that, you can pull it in the first year. So if it's looking really, really healthy, you can take a few stalks of it. Never pick it bare, and I'd never pick my established one bare. But if it's looking as good as that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with taking some of those, absolutely nothing at all. I remember when I first got it and I asked my dad, and you hear all these things, if it looks a little bit limp and not that good, then don't pick it, but if it looks like that, go for it. I've got some squashes here that have started forming. I believe these are potato squashes. So we've still got lots and lots of time, so don't fret whether, because some of mine haven't really produced anything yet. We don't harvest these until October, so even though I'm a little bit like, oh, is that the only one that's producing something? Or there's just some little ones on some of these. We've got loads and loads of time yet, so there is absolutely no rush whatsoever. Just keep watering and feeding them and they will come good. So in here, we're not going to go in here because I have to barricade it up a bit so that the cabbage butterflies don't get in there. I've got some kale in there which I have already picked off, which is absolutely lovely. It was absolutely full of weeds when we got back, which was yeah, it was a bit of a chore, shall I say. It's not all glamour having a YouTube channel, you know. And then you've got the peas that I put in there as well, which I put in literally just before I went away, and they have germinated absolutely fantastically. So as we move down, I've got some broccoli, which is doing really well. I picked one off, I think it was a day or two ago, and I've got some more here. Now what you do is you pick them off. It is a little bit tricky because you don't want to leave them, you don't want to pick them off when they're too small, and you don't want to leave them too long and then they'll start to flower. If we just have a look at this one, I think this one here is about ready, and we need some more broccoli as well. So all I do, again, keep things like this covered because the birds, the butterflies will have them, I just snap it off. One thing I do is I leave the plants in there because I find I get just as many extra shoots. Some are big shoots, some are little shoots. Sometimes you get another head almost as big as the first head shoot out of it. So I never just take the whole plant up, I always leave it in there because I generally always get loads more shoots off of it. And I generally pick them as I need them unless I think that they're starting to open out. So if it looks like they're starting to open out, and that one might have been, and they generally start to rise out of the middle of the plant a little bit more, then they're ready to harvest. But that's good enough for me. If you leave them all, they'll all be ready at the same time, and then you won't want to eat them all at the same time, will you? So you just kind of like have to pick sometimes when it's right for you and when it's a decent size. So I've got a few more squashes here that are starting to come on. I've also got my Cape gooseberries that are starting to fill out, which looks absolutely fantastic. So I've got some little blooms coming on there, so they look really good. So I'm chuffed with those. Again, you don't get those until quite late in the year, so they're coming on, so that's good enough for me. I've got my Statice flowers, which I'm hoping they're going to start shooting some stems up soon, and it won't be too long and I'll get some flowers. I was, if I'm really honest with you, a little bit too late getting them in, but you know, no one's perfect. I've also got my Leeks here. As you can see, we've done a fair bit of weeding, and because it's a nice hot sunny day, we've put most of the weeds up onto the composters, but when it's a really hot day like today and you know it's not going to rain, you can just leave the weeds on the surface and they will die off. That is one of the benefits of this really unusual hot weather that we're getting at the moment, and that's why I think some of my things are a little bit behind, because it has been just so incredibly dry. My onions, I've got to say, are not brilliant, I'm not going to lie, but there you go, we can't win at everything. And I've got some more peppers here as well. I think they're Flamingo peppers. And I've got a lot of bloom on those as well, and lots of nice little buds that are coming through. And one of my things that I'm really chuffed about with has been my blueberries. So I've had these, I can't exactly remember how long now, but probably a couple of years now, and they're doing all right. So I'm really chuffed with them. So there we go, that's what I got off today. So really, really good. I do keep them netted. The only reason this isn't on there is because I've just been picking them off, and I just wanted to show you what they look like. But I will put the netting over, and what I will say is if you do have things like, whether they're brassicas, whether they're fruit, you know, it's really handy to net some things so the birds don't get them and other predators don't get them. So if you want to get some of that green netting, it's just like scaffolding netting, stroke garden netting they call it. I will put a link up on the screen and also one in the description if you're interested. Now let's head down and see what else I've got on the plot. And while I'm chatting to you, I might as well say, if you enjoy watching this video and you'd like to do something called Buy Me a Coffee, then there will be a link up on the screen and one in the description, and I'll be very grateful of that as well. And you can always ask me any questions. So let's pop down here. So we've got, they look quite similar, but this is chard, which is very similar to spinach if you've never grown it before. And this is beetroot on this side. Now my beetroots are looking really lovely. I'm not going to pull any today, but they are really starting to fill out now, and some of them are actually quite large. If we move down, whenever you're trying to show things on camera, you've got lots and lots. And what I do is I will take out the larger ones first and let the smaller ones fill out. So I'm going to make, it's kind of like a sauerkraut stroke kimchi. I made it last year and it was really, really lovely with beetroot. It's absolutely wonderful. So that's one of my plans with my beetroot, and I do a fantastic beetroot curry as well. So that's definitely going to go on the to-do list. And this spinach here, I'm definitely taking some of this home with me today. Because I am doing a lovely peanut butter chicken dish, which I'm really looking forward to. So this chard, as you can see, you've got different colour stems. So you've got the white stems, you've got the pink stems, you've got the yellow stems. I love this because it's so beautiful and colourful, and I think it tastes a little bit better. It just keeps on growing, so this will most likely go all through the winter. So if you don't grow chard, and especially the bright lights or the rainbow chard, I think you're missing a trick, because it's such a handy thing to have in your garden. It's really easy, it's really versatile. I never need to spray it generally. You know, there's no pests generally that predate on it. I mean, occasionally they will get attacked by something, but generally speaking, they're quite an easy thing to grow. I've got my carrots underneath my Enviromesh tunnel here, and I'm not going to lift these up. I did have a little look earlier, they're not ready to pull yet. I always put Enviromesh over my carrots. It really, really protects them from the carrot fly. Ever since I've done this, you either buy a tunnel or you can buy a piece of netting like I've got on my broccoli over there. Both work. Obviously, if you just buy the strip, I put the hoops on and put it over it, and this one's already got the little hoops within it, because it just stops you from getting it. I mean, you might get it a little bit towards the end, but I generally just get much better carrots as a result. So I will put a link up on the screen and one in the description if you want to get some of the Enviromesh. We'll either put the tunnel on there or we'll put the sheet netting on there, whatever we can find. Both work equally well. And then over to my broad beans. Now, they've nearly finished. My father-in-law was looking after my allotment while I was away, and I think he got most of my broad beans, so lucky him. But I have still got a few broad beans on here, which I'm going to get off today. So the tail end of them I might add. But you know, it's still good. It's still good. That was his thank you for looking after my plot. So I'll pick the rest of these off later. As we move down, I've got my potatoes here, which I've been harvesting, which have been really, really good. So despite the dry weather, my potatoes have still been doing really, really well. I dig my potatoes, I see a lot of people digging them up, and you know what, it's all down to personal preference, but generally speaking, your first earlies and your second earlies don't store, well, especially your first earlies, don't store as well. But if you want to dig them all up and store them, then that's absolutely fine, but just make sure you eat them reasonably quickly. With your main crop, I dig those up, in fact, whatever you haven't dug up, by about September, October time, you need to get out of the ground, and then you do need to store it, because the slugs, the snails, the wireworm will start to attack them, and the frost could damage them too. But at the moment, with it being July, I literally dig as I need them. So I won't be digging all of them out all at once. And I've got my wildflowers here, which look a little bit sad. They don't look quite as colourful as they did earlier in the season, but they're not here just for aesthetics. They're here for the benefit of the insects, and for that I'm really grateful. And we've had lots of different kinds of insects benefiting off these, and I'm sure it's benefited my plot and the plots around it. And I've got some beautiful sunflowers there. Now, I do hope you've enjoyed watching my channel. If you want to know how to grow better blueberries, please see my link on the screen and also in the description.